This year's from far out, from self-imposed exile to taking the money, Johnny Depp's hypocritical Hollywood comeback from Michael Gordon from November 7th. Haven't read it, gonna react to it, but from the looks of it, seems like this guy doesn't like Johnny for some reason. When Johnny Depp exited the Fantastic Beasts franchise on November 6, 2020, it was a seemingly fatal blow to his Hollywood career. Only days earlier, he had lost a heavily publicized libel battle against the Sun newspaper, which had accused him of not being so nice to then wife Amber Heard. He revealed that Warner Brothers had asked him to resign from the film, but resolved to prove the allegations against him were false. Then he said sayonara to Hollywood and has only appeared in foreign-made indie films since. He failed to prove the allegations against him were false. Thank you, Michael. That was genius. In 2021, Depp indicated in an interview that he felt he was the victim of cancel culture and that Hollywood had boycotted him. I will agree with Johnny on that before we continue. 2 years later, Depp appeared at the Cannes Film Festival press conference to discuss Jeanne de Barry, a film he made in France in which he played King Louis XV. He was asked if he still felt Hollywood was boycotting him and gave a customary rambling answer that only made a vague kind of sense. And then he goes on to kind of criticize that Johnny said he didn't feel boycotted because he said he didn't think about Hollywood. But that was 2 years later. He was saying he felt boycotted at a certain point, but not anymore. So it looks like Michael is actually the one rambling. But even worse, he's rambling in an article which people read that's not so enjoyable to read when you ramble. But I'll read it so you don't have to. As for whether he considered Jeanne de Barry a movie he made far away from the Hollywood system a comeback, Depp scoffed at the idea. In fact, he took a page out of Nicolas Cage's fictional alter ego, Nick Cage, in the unbearable weight of massive talent and simply said he never left. He mused. I kept wondering about the word comeback because I didn't go anywhere. As a matter of fact, I live about 45 minutes away. Maybe people stopped calling. I don't know what their fear was at the time. All right, I've got mixed feelings on the word comeback. On one hand, you could say Johnny never went away, but on the other hand, you could say, look, he was put down by Hollywood, Disney and the system and everything, and he had to come back from that. So it really makes sense both ways. I personally would call it a comeback. I don't like the word either, but that's kind of what it was. Because at a certain time, he couldn't just work normally like he was before the trial. It was all very navel-gazing, woe was me, stuff from a man who felt he'd been wronged by Hollywood and the media as a whole. At one point, he even said that the majority of what's been written about his and Heard's life had been a fantastically, horrifically written fiction. Depp also claimed the subtext to any question he fields from the press has subtext. God, I hate you. Wait, stop, rewind. Depp also claimed the subtext to any question he fields from the press has subtext. You mean feels from the press or fields? That's a weird word. Thank you, Michael. You're batting 100. Let's go. And then he mentions Mahdi, which is coming out pretty soon, I guess. All looking forward to that. And continues to say, ironically, if Depp continued making films like Jeanne de Barry and Mahdi in foreign locals, then his self-imposed American exile could have at least been respected. There we go. His self-imposed American exile. Well, in that way, I'm kind of proud to be like Johnny Depp. I, too, have somewhat self-imposed an exile of America. For very different reasons. However, it's kind of Johnny-like, I guess. I can't say for sure, but I think that Johnny enjoys being overseas, the culture of Europe, the new atmosphere. Let's face it, they treat him better on the whole. Although people in America treat him great, there still is that crowd that Johnny says himself is in that cancel culture mentality. Naturally, this all went out the window when it was announced on October 28, 2024, that he's going to star in Mark Webb's Day Drinker for Lionsgate. Forgot about that. So much success to talk about. All right, so this guy is saying basically because Johnny Depp was put down, like I said, by Disney, by the system at some point, by cancel culture, and then he made this comeback to movies that he's a hypocrite? I'm not sure he ever said, I'm never going to make another Hollywood movie again. Let's be real. He was at a confusing point in his life. When there's so much turmoil When there's so much turmoil and like a billion people watching your court trial of personal stuff, I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway to not think completely straight about the future at that point. But I guess this guy Michael is holding feet to the fire, even though he's getting most of it wrong. Ultimately, despite his pretensions to artistic integrity and his feelings of betrayal at the hands of the Hollywood system that made him, Depp must have longed to be welcomed back this whole time. Who's to say? Feeling like a pariah, whether that's entirely accurate or not, can't be fun, so he's jumped at the first chance to try and reestablish himself as a mainstream star again. He surely doesn't need the money, so it must be about regaining his place as part of a Hollywood piece of furniture. Basically, the guy says, okay, wait, stop. Johnny doesn't need the money. If Johnny had like $20 million or $25 million left, he wouldn't need the money. He could live his life. But he lost so much, psychologically, you want to get it back. It's not about needing the money. Is that hypocritical? Yes, probably. Is it surprising? No, not really. It always sounded like Depp did not protest too much anyway. Protest? Protest what? I don't know. I don't get it. Weird word. No, Johnny didn't protest too much. That's right. However, here's the real question. Will Hollywood's executives, colleagues, and audiences accept him back into the fold after his reputation took such a startling nosedive? That very much remains to be seen. Well, the publication checks out. This article is a bit far out. Michael's got some silly opinions. I guess he's basically saying Johnny's a hypocrite because now he's making a Hollywood movie. But wait a minute. Johnny got accused of something he didn't do and got kicked out. He did say, I think, he's not going back to Disney. Wait a minute, I gotta check if Disney owns Lionsgate, because they own like everything, but I don't think so. Okay, no. Lionsgate's not owned by Disney. So as I was saying, Johnny said he's not going back to Disney, but Lionsgate is not Disney. Johnny didn't say I'm not going back to Hollywood movies. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Doing all things Johnny. Sean Diddy once in a while. Little Megan. Little Harry once in a while. Honestly, covering some meltdowns from the election because they're pretty interesting. That's about it. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.